спикерка данного направления. И безумно рада, что вы здесь с нами на ивенте. Кто впервые на нашем ивенте? Можете поднять ручки? Отлично! Замечательно! Я безумно рада, что у нас на каждом ивенте все больше и больше людей. Рада вас приветствовать. И для тех, кто первый раз на ивенте, я расскажу немножко о нас, а те, кто у нас постоянные гости, просто вспомнят информацию. Так вот, кто мы есть? Women Club Киев – это не прибыльная организация, и наша основная цель – это поддержка, вдохновление девушек быть лидерами и специалистами направления информационных технологий. Наша цель, наше желание, чтобы наших женщин было видно и слышно, чтобы они становились, чтобы они вдохновлялись всех окружающих и становились все более и более видимы. Так вот, очень часто мы видим и слышим вопросы, которые получаем от желающих прийти на наши ивенты, от гостей, о том, что можно ли на наши ивенты приходить мужчинам, не побьют ли их тапком, не выгонят ли их с мероприятия с позором. Ну, как вы можете заметить, да, можно, мы безумно рады вас всех видеть. У нас, вне зависимости от того, мужчина вы или женщина, есть только одно желание, чтобы вы относились друг к другу с уважением. Это главная наша идея, наш код of contact. Вы все его, кто-то его читал, кто-то просто поставил галочку при регистрации, но в любом случае он у нас есть. И основная идея это то, что, пожалуйста, относитесь друг к другу с уважением, относитесь с уважением к нашим спикеркам и к друг другу. Если вдруг у вас произошли какие-то неприятные вам нюансы с кем-то из коллег или еще чего-то, и вы хотите с этим поделиться или просто как-то бурно на это отреагировать, это можно подойти кому-то из организаторов и рассказать, и мы этот вопрос решим. Мы обычно это рассказываем, хотя за все время наших ивентов такого ни разу не было. Так как мы не прибыльная организация, мы безумно благодарим обычно компании, которые нас хостят. Сегодня нас хостит Microsoft, за что ему большое спасибо. Они нам дали зал, дали техподдержку. И я бы хотела предоставить слово представителю Microsoft, дать пару слов, чтобы они поделились своими вопросами.
Всем привет еще раз. Я видела, что вы поднимали руки, кто уже был на мероприятиях Women Who Code, а кто был, в принципе, у нас на мероприятиях в офисе из вас? Всего 2 человека.
Тут еще 3.
Да, про тебя я знаю, Леша. Очень приятно, что у вас только будет так много нового экспириенса. Меня зовут Татьяна Зубец, я менеджер по работе с технической аудиторией, отвечаю за регион Центрально-Восточной Европы, за страны Украина, Россия, Беларусь и СНГ. То есть все, что касается технических аудиторий, программы, взаимодействия с ними, все активности, офлайновые в основном, это можно обращаться ко мне, если у вас есть идеи, пожелания, видения и так далее. В принципе, чтобы следить за тем, что мы делаем, можно просто в Фейсбуке отслеживать страничку «Спільнота IT-фахівців Microsoft в Украине». Очень приятно, что мы взаимодействуем с большим и большим количеством комьюнити, потому что, в принципе, вы знаете, что Microsoft как компания меняется, и меняется очень сильно именно в плане технологий и в плане платформы, что мы не являемся больше закрытой экосистемой, и мы сейчас благодаря нашему облачному продукту Microsoft Azure можем объединять всех разработчиков любых направлений, любых языков разработки, любых фреймворков и так далее. Соответственно, мы со своей стороны тоже становимся все более открытыми и работаем с большим количеством комьюнити. Надеемся, что пересекаемся не в первый раз. И да, действительно, для Microsoft тоже важно помогать девушкам, женщинам в IT. У нас в компании тоже много таковых работает. К сожалению, не всегда есть возможность локальных спикеров найти девушек. Тем не менее, сегодня у нас был первый день большого мероприятия, которое мы проводим. Мероприятие полностью практическое. И нам очень повезло, что нам удалось привлечь очень много менторов с разных стран. В частности, мы решили поделиться с вами немножко экспертизой менторов, которые работают в больших консалтинговых компаниях, на реальных проектах, имеют очень много опыта, чем поделиться, потому я не буду много занимать времени. Очень благодарна, что мы с вами сегодня увиделись, и передам слово нашим спикеркам. Сегодня они будут выступать на английском, потому что, в принципе, они с Франции, и я думаю, французский мало ли кто поймет, но английский поймут. So, I'm so glad to introduce Estelle. So, she'll be your first speaker. We'll have two today. So, please just share your experience and feel free to ask your questions under the presentation. Projecting to the second monitor. And is it this one? I think so. Sure? Yes. This is the yes. On the ground. So I'm not sure whether you are one. А ваш подключался ноутбук, да? Так. Может быть, давайте это бросим на ваш ноутбук просто, и тогда можно спуститься. Do you have remote? No, so it will switch the presentation. I guess that we can just switch the notebooks. The one it's because just switch it. Okay.
Be hard if I don't have any slide because I have a lot of table to show. Sorry for the delay. Okay, take your time. Do you have any USB key and address? If you don't mind. So in this case, you will have it to share that as you have if you want. Oh shit. Sorry.
Ну, а оскільки у нас дуже багато людей, які сьогодні вперше на івенті Women for Code, тоді я скористаюся нагодою, представлюсь. Моє ім'я Наталія, я одна з директорок Women for Code, і тоді трошечки вам розкажу, як загалом у нас відбувається організація івентів і як ми придумуємо і обираємо тему. Тож, якщо у когось з наших учасників або учасниць з'являється бажання стати спікером або спікеркою, у нього або у неї є класна тема, якою хочемо або поділитися, ми разом збираємось, у нас є купа каналів для обміну інформацією, у нас є окремий Slack-чат, в якому ми обговорюємо наші ідеї, збираємось, гуртуємось і разом організовуємо івенти. Є дуже багато компаній, які готові нас хостити, приймати, тому якщо раптом у когось із вас виникне бажання після цього івенту долучитися до нашої організаторської команди, стати спікером, спікеркою і поділитися своїми знаннями, це буде дуже кльово, ми будемо дуже раді вас бачити і в наших соцмережах, і в нашому Slack, і зможемо організувати ще якісь івенти. Найближчим часом у нас плануються івенти і по фронтенду, по security планується івент, по QA, ще якийсь, можливо, по mobile development, так у нас планується. В цьому році ми запустили дуже багато нових напрямків, буде дуже багато нових тем, цікавих спікерок і спікерів. Тому якщо раптом ви захочете, долучайтесь, будь ласка, будемо раді вас бачити в нашій команді. Про що ще вам розповісти? А в кінці презентації наших спікерів буде ще інформація про наші соцмережі, тому ви вже зможете дізнатися точно і долучитися. Я вклалась? Супер.
So you won't have to take pictures because I'm going to share the presentation just after the meetup. So if you want to download it, you will be totally free. Okay, so here we go. Sorry for the delay. I'm Estelle Auberix, I'm French. I split my time between Paris and Nice, and I'm very lucky because I'm working on what I like, and my playground is Internet of Things and cloud. So today, I'm going to present you Azure, but especially the PaaS IoT solution and AWS Lambda, because we can make a lot of common point. Who's already working on Azure? Okay. And on AWS? Okay, AWS Lambda or Lambda Edge? Okay. And who's working or plan to work on IoT? Okay. So why AWS to Azure? Mainly because these are the both leading public cloud platforms. They have a similar business offer, but Azure has more PaaS services in this offer. And it's also because, I don't know if you heard about the news, but last summer, Amazon and Microsoft signed an agreement to work together on Alexa and Cortana. So they're going to mix up their, this is one kind of intelligence artificial GUI, and I pretty much bet about this is only a beginning of a partnership between Amazon and Microsoft, but it's only my point of view. So we are going to pass really quickly on the whole services of Azure and AWS. That's why you should be interested to download the presentation. So you can see that in virtual services or services, the virtual services, container, orchestrator, microservice, backend, and so you have almost all the offer from the both cloud provider, except on orchestrator and microservices because Microsoft proposed the AKS, ACS, and ACI as a PaaS service for containers offer. And in AWS, you're going to do it more like in a IaaS architecture. So for control and management, we're going to pass very quickly on this because it's mainly for IT pro and IT manager. And it's not the subject of tonight. And mobile services too, even if we are going to be able to deploy some apps related to Internet of Things. I think that some of you already have some smartwatch or some sensor at home, or maybe a watch solution at home, which are linked with your phone or maybe your computer or some website. So security of authentication. It's going to have a role in Internet of Things, but it won't, I won't pass too much time on it because we have lot of other things to talk about, and I don't want you to be bored just at the beginning of the meeting. But it's really important, security, don't miss up about that. So this is the end of security. Development tools, it's mainly for the developers. Who are developers in the... Okay, and the other manager, IT manager, okay. So you just one word about that. So that you can see that in Azure, Microsoft has two offer very important. This is about professional app integration and application test. And if you are a developer, I really recommend you, even if it's out of this meeting, to test the application test PaaS solution because it's really powerful. So it's still development tools. Amazon, it's oriented to games, and Microsoft has also it, but it is on the Xbox SDK, and so it's not totally Azure, and it's mainly with Visual Studio or Team Foundation services. So enterprise integration, you can see that Microsoft is more reliable on this. And so we're going to begin in the hardest way. Internet of Things, you will need, it's always related to cloud, and as it's related to cloud and you're going to have a lot of data, the storage is going to be very important in your project. So you can see that in AWS and Azure, you have almost the same kind of offer, except for backup. That doesn't mean that this is not backup in the AWS, but this is the third port of offer. It's on the marketplace. And it's also on the marketplace for Microsoft about data transfer. That's why if you think that AWS and Azure are competitive products, it's in one way you're right, and in the other way you can see that it can be really complementary, because Amazon is going to offer this kind of service, Microsoft another kind of service, and as you can use both products as well, you will be able to take advantages in all platforms. I'm sorry. All right. So in database, you have in the both platforms the CQL and NoSQL architecture. For those who don't know already about architecture for Internet of Things, there's a lot of NoSQL architecture, because when we begin a project in IoT, we know that we're going to get back a lot of data, but we don't know already how much, how kind of data we're going to get together, and it's easier to program to begin a project, an IoT project with NoSQL because you don't have to plan everything at the beginning. So, analysis and big data are the very, very important point because it's not sufficient to get some data. You have to make something with them, and your data have a meaning. But if you want to give a meaning to your data, you have to analyze them and to organize them and that is with analysis and big data tools that you're going to do it. So in Microsoft and AWS, you have almost the same kind of offers, not the same tool, but some people are more confidential with elastic solutions, some others with HD inside, but you can have Hadoop on each platform. A lot of open source projects are on the both open platform. And if you're not confident with Microsoft, be aware that Microsoft is a very big actor in the open source marketplace. So analysis and data, you have machine learning. In data discovery, Microsoft has a pretty good service on data catalog, which is a way to organize the data. It's not totally like the kind of the organization in Active Directory, but it's this kind of catalog that you can have that. The intelligence, this is about Alexa, the partnership Microsoft already signed on last summer. So you can make Alexa talking to Cortana and so on. So what is important is it because Alexa and Cortana are only user interface. So if you're not developer, you already you will be able to use a user interface with few code line, and it's a pretty good way to if you want to begin in an artificial intelligence project, because you can have already some result by manipulating the data and by also taking benefits of the other data putting in common by Microsoft and Amazon. After, if you're a developer, you can use, this is mainly API, Amazon Lex, the API being shared, all being API, but you also have some powerful API about face recognition, and in this domain, Microsoft is far away in front of Amazon. Oh, sorry. So IT cloud solution, we have in the both, it's really similar, but the names are not the same. But and I will show you just after some drawing of architecture, and you can make the parallels after. And the goal of this meeting is me to present you the possibilities. And you, if after the meeting you're going out or you're going at home and say, okay, so she gave me some new idea, I want to experience that or that, I think that I'm going to win my bet. If you win, if you're going out from this meeting and say, I totally waste my time, just say it to me in order for me not to do it in next time. Okay? And if you want to ask any question, do not hesitate. There's no stupid question. There's only curiosity. Okay, so don't be shy. I'm not an English native language student, so I make some errors of language. So if you do also, we are totally in like in family. Okay, so feel like home for that. So what is multi-cloud? This is my concept. My concept is you can take advantages of both leading public cloud. So when you are using at the same time two public or maybe three or four cloud, this is the concept of multi-cloud. In an IoT project, what is important? You have an object like watch, like some spoon, some thermometer, some tensiometer. So you have object, you have a connectivity to the cloud, generally. What does it mean? That gives you some data. The data, we saw it just before, we have to storage them. So this is when you have data storage and optimization, you create a fuel. This is the fuel, and this fuel is when you put it in data analysis and you have an innovative project. Sometimes it's not so innovative, but it can be bankable. So when you have innovative, you propose innovative service, you create some value. And last week I was in the Silicon Valley in Veritas offices, and one of the presenters told me a sentence that I really like. It's now the difference in IT is the value. See, it's the data. Sorry, and this is the data creates the value in IT. So now maybe you can't be a champion or a hero in IT, but you already can create value if you are able to present data or to manipulate data, not to manipulate as to get some wrong data, but to analyze them or to give them some meaning. And if you have this ability, you can be really good. And as women are also men, I'm for parity. So but this is a woman who code. I really advise you to be interested about this concept, because in the next 5 or 10 years, there's a lot of jobs who don't exist currently, and you have to create them now. So just look at the tools, look at the data we are beginning to collect, and be creative. So now the creativity is not to go on the web. The website, for me, is dead. This is web app. You don't have to create website. You don't have to create draw to be creative. Be creative with your ID. Be creative with the data. You will have a lot of tools, even if you don't code. I know that this is women who code, but you can code and you can do also some really good stuff without with no knowledge of coding. And you can learn to code after, because I'm pretty sure that at one point you're going to be interested about what is under the tools again. But you can begin to play with the tools, with the data, and there's no limit. It's I don't know. I think it was a bit of a song with "Sky is your limit." So now it won't be "Sky is your limit," but it's over cloud is your limit. You're going to the cloud. Go to the cloud. Go see the data. See what's happening just around you, and be creative. You can have the really good idea of tomorrow, and you can create your own job, which didn't exist yet. So don't be afraid about that. And it's a really good opportunity for women to take some place, because there's too much men on that. It's pretty, useful when you are in a conference, in IT conference, because you don't wait on the restroom, and this is the guys who are waiting on the restroom, you know. But I will be able to wait on the restroom if there's more women. So come on. And so speak about this, about your friends, and don't be shy about that. it's no shame to be a nerd. You know, it's totally normal. So cloud strategy. This is at the beginning, we had classic cloud with one cloud. Sometimes we had a hybrid cloud. This is on-premise data center with cloud. We now, from last year around, we are beginning to heard about multiple cloud. This is 2 or more cloud. And in Edge, in IoT, we can speak about Edge, and this is Edge multi-cloud. We can have local, and local is not data center. It could be only a Raspberry Pi. It could be your watch. It could be, so this is local. You can have some data. You have some data on your watch. It's not a lot, but all data are going on the cloud, either on the first cloud or second cloud or third cloud. At the beginning, I really won't advise you to take more than 2 clouds. It's pretty difficult to parameter everything, but there are some advantages, and that's new concept that you should take advantages now, because there's some employers who are going to hunt you because of this kind of skill. That's happened to me. I wasn't looking for a job, and Accenture, this is one of the smallest companies of the world, they just came to me and say, we are interested about your vision, we are interested about your skills. These kind of skills are not teaching currently in professional school or in IT school, so you have to learn by yourself. Fortunately, in IT, you have a lot of source to learn. And if you have a group like Women in Club, I'm pretty sure that you will have some holders of some IT pro really be able to help you or ready to help you. I have 2 pupils, and I just say, okay, so go over there if you want to learn that or that, and they can have any question that they want. And one of my pupils is going to pay more than me in 1 month. So, but it's okay. If you have a pupil, I think it's like when you have a Master Yoda. you have your pupil. It's going to be higher than you, and this is a success for you in this case. So, business advantages of multi-cloud. Business advantages is that for IT manager or for financial manager. So if you have to sell an IT or multi-cloud IoT project, you can have the main argument. So cloud, you have integration between various offerings. You're not vendor keep locker with your provider. I know that we are in Microsoft, but the freedom is the most important, even in business. So, if you're not key locker with Microsoft, they will have to be better and better to keep you as a client. So it's benefit for everybody, and they can do it. It's not because I'm an Azure MVP, but it's because this is the concurrency atmosphere of today. We have to be better and better. But in cloud, you can't be the best, but if you're the most inventive person, you can be a really impressive person in the cloud. Technical advantages, that is for a technical manager or not developers that don't mind about that, but they can be interesting. You are not locating, you can be locating in any area, even if Microsoft has not data center on this area, but Amazon has or another cloud provider has. You can speed up. And why? Because when you are in the cloud, the proximity is really important. You don't have to be just beside your data center, but less far away you are from the data center, quickest could be your transmission, and it's less expensive with the bandwidth because you gain some time and you gain some speed. You're facing regulation limit on the country. Maybe some of you are already hearing about GDPR. So this is a big subject of the moment, and you won't be able to pass through. In IoT project, you will be under the GDPR if you don't anonymize your data. But you can use data after anonymizing them, and you won't be, you will be under the GDPR law, but in your project it won't be a block, because some of project of currently actual software could be really inefficient after May because they don't respect the GDPR rules. The environment of public cloud are used with on-premise resources. So with IoT projects, it's very important because you will always have on-premise resources because you have always an object. So this is like on-premise, and you're going to collect your data on-premises. And the cloud-based applications are not resilient, and you can after the disaster. I forgot to also, but this is a cloud advantage. This is an infinite scalability, and most of time this is a pay-per-use build. So you will pay only about what you're using. So this is a quick reminder about the Internet of Things common point between AWS and Azure. Why? Because we are going to see the both architecture from the both cloud, and you have to remind which product are common to really understand where the common point and where you can create a parallel between one cloud and the other one. And if you have a parallel, you have the same logic, and you can do the same work. And that's what it's present to do in IT Manager, because in IT area, you're the best when you're the laziest person. Because the laziest person in IT is those one who's creating solution without any double function, without less error possibilities, and with clean function. And what is an algorithm? An algorithm is a program who is going to repeat infinitely the same action. And this is a kind of IT person. Why did we create an algorithm? Because we didn't want to create to repeat the same action. That's a lazy action. That's a lazy logic. So, architecture. Oh, I forgot. I have the boss. Okay. The Azure IoT. You have as. Is that enough big for you? So, as we saw in the simple description of Azure IoT, you have devices who collect the data, connectivity to connect to the cloud, generally through a gateway. This is an important point because it will be the same point in the both cloud or in the on-premise solution. And then you will have the PaaS services or the IaaS services. It will depend on the cloud. So it looks like a little bit complicated like that, but you can see 3 actions. Devices to collect data, connectivity to go to the cloud. This is a gateway, this is a gate. So you have to put to get through in it. And then you are in the cloud to analyze or to create value with your data. And to storage down, of course. What on AWS, totally the same. It looks like different, but you also have devices where you collect data. You going through, what's it different in Amazon thing? You're going through their IaaS architecture, but this is, you have a gateway here, and then they're going to treat them with their services. What is this different? Because AWS have a logical of IaaS, this is infrastructure as a service. And in Microsoft Azure PaaS, it is a platform as a service. So you don't mind about what has the computer beside, what has the CPU beside. For some of services, yes, but most of time, no. That's why if you're not an IT manager, you will be able to use the services because you don't have to manage the hardware. The only hardware you're going to manage, this is this one. And if you want to create, to begin to create an IoT project, this one could be between $5 till €100, but most of the time it's around €30 because you're going to begin with a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino code. The Arduino is less expensive, but sometimes less powerful. It depends on what you want. But if you want only to collect data and to connect them with, to create the connectivity, it can be only a little board with ESP 8266, and it's something like €2 or €3. Or you can go to, you can order them on AliExpress platform, Chinese. You will have to wait 1 or 2 months, but during these 1 or 2 months, you share so you won't expense your money, and you will have time to think about your project. So depends of what your goals. So, and now this is a comparison between the both. So once again, devices. There is not the information of this one, but there's also an IoT SDK from Microsoft, which is pretty much the same function as AWS SDK. There's some difference, but you can use it. This is a gateway, which is totally formalized by Microsoft, and you can have security, you can manage your network, and you don't see it in Amazon, but there's also one gateway. Then you have the infrastructure with S3 is the IaaS, the computer. You have the Lambda, which begins, it's like the event-based device cloud ingestion with who treat the data. Kinesis, Dynamo have also data treatment. The rules engines are managing by per device authentication, secure connectivity. You have Sync Shadow, Sync Registry also in this break. A message broker, you can find it back on the reliable clock to device messages. So it's all connectivity, relation and communication between cloud and your devices. And the thing of Amazon, it's some virtual devices you created that you can find on the IP capable devices. It's like virtual devices too. There. Now this is open your mind. Open your mind. Imagine the new world. The data, this is a venue, this is your fuel, you have all tools, and you can just create the world of tomorrow. If you have any question, if you don't be shy. Yeah.
So you've compared two architectures, but can you name some real-world examples, like for which architecture it works best? Like some examples with watches or something like that?
There's no examples of which is best or not, because in big companies to which I advise, because I'm an IT consultant, some of them are not choosing their cloud because of the technical capacities, but because of the commercial proposal, you know. And this is a problem in big companies, because the buyer are not the maker. And so when they already bought the services, the maker had to do with that. He had to manage with the tools the company gave to him. As a consultant, I mainly work on Azure and Amazon. Why? Because, for example, for Accenture, this is the main cloud they are using. They use 7 different clouds, no Google. I have to say that. Some clouds that I never heard about before knowing them, but they are mainly spending their money or their clients' money in Azure and Amazon. And I think that the main reason is because of the SLA, the guarantee of service that Microsoft is able to offer, and Amazon too. And if you, I don't have anything to a little cloud provider. Everybody should have the chance to exist. But I think it's more difficult for little cloud provider to offer the same guarantee as Microsoft and Amazon. This is just logical. After, it depends also of the geographical situation.
Thank you.
Any other question? Do you have some idea? I will really be pleased if maybe in 2 or 3 years I'm hearing an interview of one of you and say, one time I heard a talk that gave me some idea, and now I'm going to be really rich to play in my to take a very good time in my playground. Because for me it's really a playground. It's not a job. You know, like when you're kids and you're making your little robots, and this is my day job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is all. Я предлагаю сделать небольшой перерыв на пару минут, пока подготовится вторая спикерка, и чтобы мы смогли все хорошо сделать с технической стороны. У нас есть пару минут, вы можете выйти там воды попить или отойти, или просто позадавать вопросы, если будет у вас такая возможность. Спасибо. Пару минут у нас перерыв. Начинаем в 8:05. Спасибо большое.
But there are lots of women. It's cool. Because every time I had a presentation, there are not lots of women, so it's very sad. So I'm happy to see you. I'm here to talk with you about how can we disrupt our interface and start infusing AI in our app. So before to go ahead, to go deep dive in the topic, I just want to take a few minutes to explain who I am, because I'm just thinking, I'm thinking you are here and you say, well, who's she? So yes, just a few explanations. I'm a software engineer, and I'm also working as technical lead for AWS France Innovation Center. So I apologize for my French accent. I have 10 years experience, almost, in .NET development. I specialized in WPF, UWP, and design forms development, mainly. But I'm also specialized in always learning on IoT and AI, because I start to learn AI when I was at school, because I wrote my memoir, it's not a thesis, but it's to validate the end of the studies. And you have to write a big book about a problematic, and my problematic was Kinect, and how Kinect was or is, I don't know, a revolution in terms of human interface. So, and there is AI in Kinect, because it's gesture recognition. So, yeah. And I'm also Microsoft MVP, Windows development since I think 3 years. And as I said, AI fan, cloud addict, and big diversity advocate. Yeah. So, this is a little bit of humor, because even cognitive services can guess my age. It can guess my age. So now here is, and there is a false, yes, because nobody can, you know what I mean? Even cognitive services. So yeah, I will prove it to you. I hope in a few minutes. So in terms of agenda, I'm going to start with some basis about what we are talking about when we talk about cognitive computing and cognitive services, because I heard a lot of things, different things, and so yeah, I'm a kind of maniac, so I like to start with basics. Okay. I will perform some demo and use case if I am lucky and it doesn't, and there is no problem, I think. We are going to see information about Azure Machine Learning Studio and perform some Q&A at the end. So let's go into the basics. What are we talking about when we want to talk about cognitive? So just to be sure about what we are saying, it's just the whole process of acquiring knowledge. So it includes the process to acquire, process the information itself, but also store the information and reuse it. So that means just in this situation, we are in a cognitive process, because I'm giving information and you hearing information and you processing information, and I will store it and reuse it for the future. So as you understand, a cognitive process is involved in every step of learning, reasoning, perception, or categorization. Because when we saw an object, when we see an object and our brain wants, it's not really want, but you know what I mean, our brain will recognize it automatically and store the information, and these steps are performed by our brain since when we were like that, or maybe like that, or maybe like that, because there is a cellular as in your body, there is also a cellular memory. So in reality, the cognitive processes are really part of us and of the functionment of our brain. Okay. So what do we mean when we are talking about cognitive computing? So cognitive computing is just talking about system or providing system with cognitive processes which use algorithms. Okay, so basically, the main idea is that when we talk about cognitive computing, we talk about the way that we want to try to have a system functioning like our brain or human brain. You know what I mean? So it includes machine learning, automatic reasoning, logical learning, things like that, but also natural processing, natural language processing. Okay? So these are just the basis. I will not deep dive into details because it could take a lot of time, and this is big topics. So just here are the basics. It also includes machine learning frameworks, and of course, as we may know, deep learning frameworks and things like that. So when to go next step into the basics. So as you understand, when we are talking about cognitive services, we are talking about an API or a lot of API or interfaces which enable to access to a program already trained or ready to be trained. And that's all. It's just as simple as it seems. So I voluntarily try to explain it simple because, when you are talking about marketing person, and I don't have anything against the marketing person, there's no problem, but we can hear a lot of things, so yeah. If we're okay about that, I'll go ahead. So in terms of feature, what does it mean? It means that in terms of API, we can have a lot of solutions and a lot of services. So maybe you know already some of them. We have vision services, speech services, knowledge, search language, and things like that. So just if we take a basic use case, for example, you ask something to an assistant like Siri or Cortana, things like that. They will use these services, one or two or a lot of them, to answer. Okay. And also there is Microsoft Cognitive Services. I don't know if you have information about that, but it's very, very, very impressive because it's the toolkit, the Microsoft toolkit, which enable to perform deep learning. But we will talk about it later if we have time. So in terms of cognitive services, I go ahead because you probably know a lot of them. They are preview version. You can start for free on Azure. So yes, just try, and there are a lot of documentation and tutorial about that. So it's quite easy, I think. And just now it's time to demo. So I was saying to you that we can have sample on GitHub because a lot of samples are available on GitHub to test a lot of things. So I just have to kill the presentation and switch to the sample. So here is one of the easier sample to test a lot of to test how it works. So just it's the source code is in open source. It's available on GitHub. You can perform it. You can download it, install it. It's in Python. I will show you the code if we have some time. And we just add two things to start. It's get a subscription key and specify a point. So I will just have to add it. So to just show you how it works, it's not very complicated. I just log on my Azure subscription, and I click on get a key. Yeah, just like that. And yes, I have a key. So I specify the key, and I specify the endpoint. Just that's all. So. I I have some network. So here we are, and is the game that I want to perform with you, because I think it's funny. And you know, I remember I saw you that I told you that nobody can guess my age. So let's see. So choose and rage. Yeah, and I also put dogs and cats because I love them. I love dogs and cats. So yes. The point is that this API will verify if there is a face in the photo. So I will try with this to see if it's okay. So yes, and I have network, so it's very good. So we have the result here, and you can see the log window here, and I see that so there is a face in the photo, right? And it's a female, and she's 25 years old, and etc. etc. So okay, you may ask, yes, but is it fake or is it right? So I will try with a cat. And 0 face has been detected, so everything is okay. And just to be sure, I have a dog. Yes, 0 face has been detected, so everything is still okay. And here I am, because I'm a good player. It's my Facebook photo. And 21. That's 25, no, 24, yeah. So I'm younger, yes. All right. And there is a face detected, so it's a good news. And just to be sure, okay. Okay, so now there is a problem, because I'm a male. So, you know, this is not the good result. The age is still false, but the gender is not good. So we have a problem, and when we have a problem in this kind of situation, there is another tool that is also very big, very, very cool. It's called Custom Vision. And Custom Vision looks like that. And I want to show this because it's very cool, because you cannot say to the face detection API, no, it's not the good result. I'm not this age, I am not this gender, so please update it. You cannot. We don't have access to train it because it's Microsoft API. But we have the ability to create a project, a custom project in Custom Vision, where we can upload images, and you know, we add tag on the images, and the process is that the program will associate image and a lot of points detecting the image with tags. So that, of course, you have to upload a lot of image or a few images to perform it. But the point is that we have the ability to have a custom vision, or train our custom API with this software, this application. It's not a software, it's a cloud software. But you know, it's very cool, and you can reuse it in your app. So it means, you know, for instance, you want to develop a custom app to perform face detection or things like that, and you can just work with Custom Vision to create your project, upload your image, and do exactly the same thing that we have with the sample Microsoft, but with your own custom API that you train. Okay. Is there any question for the moment? Right. You're the best. So I will come back into the slides. Slide. So face detection, I think you saw the principle. Custom Vision, I think it's okay too. So if some questions are coming in your brain, we will talk it about later. No problem. And just let's talk about Azure Machine Learning, because you see the cognitive services are trained. So they are trained with something, and maybe maybe something is called machine learning, you know. So the point is that what is machine learning, and I will also start with the basics, but I will not talk a lot of time. Azure Machine Learning, some people have the ability to mix it with deep learning. It's not the same. Deep learning, it's not machine learning. And I will explain it later. But Azure Machine Learning is just not a tool suite which enable to transform data into intelligence. So it's use cognitive services. So cognitive services, as you can see, it's available right here, but if we need some customization and some training in our model, we can use custom vision, but we can also use Azure Machine Learning Studio, and I have a demo with it. And we can also use, so it improves the customizability, and we can also use Azure Machine Learning Workbench. I don't have demo with Azure Machine Learning Workbench because it's yes, it's more powerful, but it's also longer to implement. But there are a lot of quality with this. And if we have time, I can show you. So what does it look like? I don't know if you already look on Azure Machine Learning Studio, but it's quite friendly, I think, because yes, you have a lot of feature, a lot of functionality available here, which enable you to work with your data sets, because we need a data set in input of Azure Machine Learning Studio. When we are talking about training a model, we are talking about data. Don't forget that. So we need a data set to begin. So yes, I know is there a data scientist in the room? Oh, the only one. Nice to meet you. I'm not a data scientist, even neither are mathematics, but yes, it's big work to also find data sets that are, as I can say, clean. I mean, without fake data or empty data. But Azure Machine Learning Studio enables us to work with our data sets if we need to clean it, or just to keep some columns, or just to get some columns, exclude, or perform mathematics process on it. So it's quite powerful, and it's already implemented in the platform. So everything is here. We just have to drag and drop break and treatments and link input and output like that. So what does it look like? I will not show you. I will just, before show you what it looks like, I will just a few words to finish about Azure Machine Learning and Azure Machine Learning Workbench. In Azure Machine Learning Workbench, we have it's not quite a platform, it's more software, and we have a lot of customization that we have more features than in Azure Machine Learning. Just to be clear about that. And to finish with the basics, what are we talking about when we are talking, what kind of business case or use case we will have when we want to perform Azure Machine Learning? Is that it's mainly used to categorization, or to find probability, or predictive maintenance, or predictive experimentation, or just prediction, or mainly prediction. But we have also a lot of use cases, like someone showed me a use case using face to perform face detection, but it was to classify. No, not face detection, sorry, to classify flowers, like iris or daffodils or things like that, because in botanic there are a lot of flowers variety who are the same, and it's very useful for them to use it. Or in with insect or things like that. So, very useful, but I have another business case, I think, more, not more interesting, but more business oriented. Yes. I forgot to mention that the power of this of all these suites is that we have a feature which enable to have an agile model development, so that it means that there is a good integration with a lot of tools like Spark or TensorFlow, maybe even use Spark. I don't know. Spark is to perform data treatment and data process. TensorFlow is an Google open source machine learning framework in JavaScript. As I said, Cognitive Toolkit is the Microsoft framework for deep learning. And yes, you know, the three others are Python library for deep learning, it's TNO. Cafe is for deep learning too, but it's an NVIDIA framework, very nice. I saw demo, it's very nice. And Keras is an open source framework to deep learning. So yes, you understand the process. And to finish with this point, one of the last force, if I may say, of the Azure Machine Learning platform is that we can add a flexible model deployment, so that it means we can deploy it on premise, on Azure or on Edge, and it's very cool too. Because it depends on the architecture of your project, of your application, you may would like to deploy it in different architecture, and it's possible with Docker, so it's cool. So I stop. Make you wait. I will go to the demo, so I'm leaving again to show you this. And where is he? Yes, he's here. So I hope I already have the connection. Cool. So I have to reload again. Sorry for the. I will read it here. So don't worry, if my demo doesn't work, I have a GitHub to back up it, so don't worry. It's the demo effect, you know. Yeah. Okay, right. No, I know this kind of situation, and I already have a big plan. So, right, here is my awesome experimentation. Yes. And not so awesome as it seems, but it's very interesting. So this, what we are going to see here is a part of a hands-on lab that I produce with other MVP colleagues for I don't know if you heard about Azure. It's a Microsoft event called Azure Edge Dev Tour. Yes, very light, very net. So this was an international event where we had the pleasure to have Scott Guthrie coming to talk about the cloud and all the new feature and things like that. So with some colleagues, we were in charge to build an hands-on lab to learn participants how they can use Azure Machine Learning Studio and how they can use cognitive services. And if you want to perform this lab, it's on GitHub, so I will give you the link at the end. So it's very funny, and this part is the part that we provide to and that we ask the participant to build. It started with just an experiment. So when you're starting something in Azure Machine Learning Studio, you have to start with a data set because we can do nothing without data. So here is my data set. It's a CSV file, but it can be other type of file. And when you have your data set, you continue with an experiment. So you create an experiment, okay? And this experiment is, first of all, is looking like that. So I don't perform the steps in live because it could take some time, and I think it's the end of the day, so we are all tired. So, yes. Okay, so I'm very lucky. So here are the steps that we perform, and we perform these steps just by drag and drop. As I was saying, you just drag and drop it on the center, on this. You have to see this like your workspace, and you put case and you link input. So basically, here is we are starting with our data set. We are starting with our data set, and then because our data set is not as clean as it seems, we are selecting column in data set because some columns are not necessary, and then we are cleaning missing data. So if I click on it, you will see the details. Sorry. So here you will see the details of what the action is performing. So as we can see, maybe we cannot see, but I exclude two columns, and here I'm cleaning missing data. So if column has no value or cell has no value, yes, it out. And I'm then splitting data, and there is some super mathematics treatment based on one class support vector. Don't know what it means, but you know probably. So yes, no, I confess I had help from a data scientist to perform it, but I learned a lot with her, so it was very nice. And finally, you add all what you want as treatment, and then you normalize data. That's the point. And then you click on run. This is here. Yes. And when you click on run, it's magic. You have a trained model, so a clean data set. So it's very cool. And then the next step is to go to set up your services. And what I performed is that I use update predictive experiment because I want to have a prediction regarding my data. So I just clicked on it and I had this one. And you know what? The first time I saw what was happening here, I was, wow, it's magic. Because when you don't know the tool and you discover it, you see all of the bricks that are here, and they are copied in this tab, and you see all the bricks are moving like that because it's automatic. And wow! So. No, I'm not crazy. My mom had me test it. Yes, it was very nice, but it's not sufficient. We have to refine the experimentation because it's not it's automatic, but it's not sufficient. We have to update it as we want. So my web service, you have to update your web service input, So we just update a little bit the model, and yes, it's magic. But I don't go into details. We will talk about more about it if you want after, because we don't have time, and I had a lot of things to show to you. So yes, you know the principle. And if you want to perform the steps by yourself, it's on GitHub. I will give you back. So I come back into the slide again. Sorry. And just to have an overview, because we can see a lot of things in Microsoft AI platform, because it's an entire platform that Microsoft provides in terms of AI. We talk about Azure Machine Learning and cognitive services, but we have also a lot of tools and a lot of features. I don't know if you heard about both framework to build conversation AI and chatbots, but it's cool too. We have also a lot of infrastructure tools here, and also some global tools to work with Visual Studio Code normally. Best tools for AI. I didn't try it yet, but it's pretty cool. And also we have Azure MVP Workbench, as I said earlier. And here the deep learning framework. Everything is clear about deep learning. The difference between deep learning and machine learning. Yes, or maybe you can explain. I'm kidding. Just we are going into use cases, because it's very nice to talk about use cases in AI, and there are some use cases that I can share with you, but I found 3, so yes, it's good. We can talk about maintenance 4.0. Maybe you heard about industry. Not 8.40, I don't know what I mean. 4.0, yes, Industry 4.0, and the 4th Industrial Revolution, things like that. So, because the point is that we are in time where we can have a lot of IoT and data collected by objects. So we can connect absolutely everything, and there is a good video on the net about it. But I will show you later if I have the time. And everything can be connected. Well, that's the point. And we have a lot of use cases, especially in industry and especially in factory. And the case that was built in this use case is exactly the use case that I mentioned when I was talking about the hands-on lab that we perform. It's this use case. So basically, the main principle is to say we have data sensor in our factory. So visualize a machine. So imagine the machine that you want. I don't know what. And you have data and sensor are putting data in the cloud. And at a moment, the system will detect marginal value because something is happening, or maybe not. But the system detects marginal value, and behind there is maybe something like a NAP or logic app, which trigger an alert to the human, because when we have an abnormal value, it could be nothing, but it could be very major. So it could necessitate, it could require a human intervention. So that's why there is a trigger, and the human has his smartphone, and there is a cross-platform application on his smartphone, which is saying, oh, there is a notification because there is a problem. So what is the problem? And so I'm the operator, and I'm going to connect on my system. And I saw, yes, there is a problem. So maybe I could go on the machine to check if everything is okay. So I am the operator. I go in front of the machine. The machine has a web camera. The web camera detects my presence, and maybe we can also imagine that we could have a specific technician assigned to a specific machine. So we can imagine that the cognitive services will detect the person and recognize if it's the good technician or not, and if it's not the good technician, perform an alert to say it's not the good person because this person don't have the rights to talk about me, to talk with me. So yes, go get out. So you know we can have a lot of imagination to build this kind of use case. So it's just a lot of companies don't know how we can use case, but just everything is in your mind. Just use your imagination, and it could be very, very nice. So yes, so I'm the operator. The web camera detect my presence, and it allows me to work with the machine, because we can also imagine that there is a system based on the face detection who enable me to work with the machine, because no, it's not. Yes, it's me, so access is granted, or if it's not me, access is denied. We can also imagine things like that. And so I'm in front of the machine and I'm checking if everything is okay, but because I'm a new technician, I don't know exactly what I have to do. So I do a process or a checklist, and you know, paper is very, very, very boring. So I still have my smartphone, because quite everybody has a smartphone. So I have my app, my application, and I can follow my checklist about the points that I have to check on the machine with a chatbot, for example. And the chatbot is saying to me, so check the point 1, check the point 2. And I say, oh yes, it's okay, or no, it's not okay. And the chatbot saves the information. All information are going to a database in the cloud. And then I can, yes. Then I can save, maybe we can imagine that the intervention time, so the duration of the intervention is recorded by the system, just because, so everything is okay, I'm leaving, and the machine says, okay, you're leaving, so I put on the cloud that the intervention, the duration intervention is, I don't know, 5 minutes or more. And maybe we can also imagine that if the topic is very, very, very big or very critical, I can send from my device a notification to say, oh, it's critical, that it's more critical than I thought. So yeah, you know, I need some help or things like that. You have the point. You know the kind of use case. So basically, it seems very very disrupting, yes. But this lot of companies and a lot of factory or industry are looking for this kind of application, because you know it could be reduce the number of accidents, it could be reduce a lot of things, and provide more efficiency in terms of interaction. So it could be a very nice use case. And another use case, you know, this one is so cool too. I had this discussion with a lawyer. It's a software engineer, but he's also working for a lawyer enterprise. And they were asking me a question about cognitive services, because he has an idea he was saying that, you know, in law, in lawyer job, we have a lot of paper, lot of documents, and lot of words, and lot of specific and very specific words. So it could be very nice if and you know, lot of pictures, photo, and reporting, and maybe sometimes schema or handwritten text. So yes, lot of information to ingest. So he was saying it could be very nice if I have an AI, or if I can find a way to develop an AI which can ingest documentation, ingest information, process it, classify it, and analyze it, and just pick my attention and point, alert the user on what's relevant. Because when you, it's not just fiction. It's true in reality. In some affair we have a lot of books, with a lot of documents inside. So if the system has already ingested and just can put your attention, alert you on what's relevant, you can gain a lot of time. You know what I mean? So basically I choose this image because it's very, yes, it's that. You can have, you can imagine a board like that, where you have all the documents that are piled, and you have just some information displaying here to say this is relevant, this is not relevant, so I didn't display it because it's not relevant. But, and maybe you can also imagine, just like that, that the system will perform some links, will draw for you some links between documents, and maybe providing some question about, is this link, I think this link could be the probability that this link was correct, is yes, and give you a probability. So you know what I mean? It's, we can imagine a big board, maybe with transparent screen, it could be very nice. And just, yeah, you know, do a part of the work instead of the human. Just to be clear, human will necessary, absolutely necessary for a lot of time, but we can gain time just with AI. And this kind of process is very good. But you can imagine that this could be help lawyer, but this could help also police. This could help a lot of companies. I think also to medical enterprise. That could be interesting because you know when you are going to be old, you maybe have some medical problems. So maybe yes, if you have a ton of documents like that, and you have your own application, and you have the following of everything and pointing what's relevant or not. So it could be also a use case. And I don't know what time is it. Yeah, you know, my hand wrap is telling me yes, you performed the good number of steps, but just because I'm talking with hands, you know, if I can say that, I'm working, not yet. So sorry for the joke. Yes, the last point I would like, the last use case I would like to talk about it is this one, because it's so basically it's not a business use case because I'm working in my job on a lot of use cases, but I'm under NDA, so I can't share some of them with you. But this is a personal use case, and I trust you. So it's good. Yes, this is it. This is I call it chromesthesia because it's just chromesthesia. And chromesthesia, it's just a small thing. It's just that some people have the ability to, so they can hear music. Everybody can hear music. But these people, when they are hearing music, they also see colors. They are not crazy, you know? Because it's my case and I'm not crazy. My mom had me tested. But you know, this is just yes, a small thing in our brain, and it's fun. Yes, when I hear music, I also see colors, and the colors depend on the instrument and depends on the note, and can depend also on the rhythm, and can depend on a lot of things. And it was something that I remarked a few weeks ago because I didn't pay attention to it. But you know, I remarked it when I was sleeping because I really love music, and I'm always very often hearing music. And I was hearing music because I was sleeping in the train, and I was woken by a music because they make me see a lot of colors. And I was thinking, yes, you know, it's special. You see colors. So I performed some tests and I tried that there there is a lot of people who have the same specialty. And I think it could be very nice to have an application to show how it could be cool to see that. Because so I just I just performed some research about how can I do this, because I'm just I didn't try the point already. So if you have idea, feel free to help me on what I can, how I can cut the development, and I can, if you have idea on what API I can use, it would be very nice. Because what's the point? What's the common point with cognitive services? Because I need my system will need to first ingest music. First, I'm thinking as to something like an MP3, for example, and my system needs to isolate sounds. I was thinking to wavelengths, for instance, because each sound has a wavelength, so maybe I can focus on this one, and then I can split the music and try in sound in notes, and I can try to recognize these notes. So I will need something, an API which enable me to know that yes, this sound, in this sound there is this note. I don't know if it exists, I have to search, or I have to code it, I don't know. And then when I have this information, I need to associate a color to a note, because and yes, I didn't write in here, but because it can be also depending on the instrument, because when a sound is not really the same, and it could not have the wavelengths depending on the instrument that is performing the sound. So I should also enter the type of the instrument and maybe try to recognize it. I don't know exactly how to work, but yes. And then, yes, if I can associate this sound, this process to a color, I just have to display the magic. Yeah. It's just my the steps that I processed in my reflection in my brain, but maybe I'm missing some steps, and maybe some things are not possible for the moment. But yes, this is a personal use case that I'm going to share, that I'm going to try to realize as soon as possible, because it could be very cool, and yes, I think it could be interesting. We can possibly imagine a lot of use cases like that. So to just see last use case, because it's this time it's a Microsoft project. It's a good thing to know that Microsoft is also learning about searching on use case and how perform some use case using cognitive services, and they are saying that calling that cognitive services labs. And one of my favorites, because it reminds me Kinect. So one of my favorites is this one. So I will show you a video. Where is it? Maybe not here. Yes, it's here. So here is the main page on Microsoft documentation talking about cognitive services lab, and there are lot of yes it's good. There is 6 cognitive services labs in work or in improvement by Microsoft. Some of them are already for this one. I think you can have the sample. It's on GitHub too. Yes, got sample, and you have an SDK, so you can already try to implement it and to use it in your application yet. And just to see the purpose about the project, we just have a few videos that are very nice. It's my opinion. I don't know if we have seen. The sound is just here, but so basically the purpose is to have to use gesture recognition to perform a gesture project. So she's an organizer, and she just uses gesture to communicate with his colleagues. I think it's funny. And it's romantic, yes. So you understand the point. The point is that you can perform gesture to work with your PC or with everything in your app. And another good point is how does it work behind the scene. So that's why I will also show you this by video because she's pretty simple to understand. So the system detects the hand of the woman and is clarifying if it's the right hand or the left hand. And the movement and what feature is associated to the movement. So here we can see this, you cannot see, but it's written feature detect, term feature, and this. So it's a specific gesture which is recognized. So I will find, okay, there is a rotation. That's very cool, no? So a lot of treatment. So the system detects that the rotation, the gesture is like that. It matches with a specific gesture, and then we can perform the action which the gesture is associated to. Yes?
How do you know where you point your hand? For example, what exactly you rotate?
Sorry? How do you know where?
How the system know where you point your hand, what you want to rotate?
With the camera? No?
I don't know.
Yes, with the camera. Yeah, it's basically to make it work, we need a camera. So we're working with the web camera on the PC, for instance. Yes?
How do you actually capture the object for which you are rotating? You want to rotate. How do you measure that?
How do you? But what?
How do you detect the exact object that you want to rotate? That's one.
Because yes. So I didn't see it work by myself, but I think it could be like in HoloLens. Because in HoloLens, it's the mixed reality helmet provided by Microsoft, and when you are moving the head, you are moving a pointer. So I think when she's performing that, she also has pointed the element that she wants to rotate. It's my point, but I didn't see it worked by myself because it's research are also improving. So I think it works like that, but I don't have information. I cannot be sure that it's how it works, but in my brain, it should work like that. And yes, I think we are okay. So basically, if you want to see the last video, it's to see demos, but maybe we have the answer. Let's see if I remember right or not.